Welcome to my new and returning patrons, including Slighty Bartfast, Guard Productions, Sir Duke, and Spuddy. This is Pokemon Violet, hour by hour. Alright, so last time we chose a starter and Nimona acted patronizing towards an old man. Well, joke's on her, as now she is to be the proverbial old man and teach me how to catch wild Pokemon. Ha ha! Ugh, I make jokes to cover for my hatred of the most needlessly unskippable tutorial in all of video games. Like, of course always have it available for the newcomers, but not once was there ever a, would you like me to go through all this nonsense again? And at this point it just seems rude, like they purposefully blocked the idea that someone might have played a Pokemon game before this one. Okay, I admit I'm being a bit too harsh here. They actually streamlined it pretty well this time. Nimona just hands me the ball, the description says how to use it, and I'm left to it. No annoyingly slow hand holding or anything. Oh, there's the movable camera. Weird that they didn't put it in trainer battles. I mean, I get that you couldn't do dramatic angles, but I'm surprised they didn't give you the option at least. You know how I know that's possible? Because Dragon Quest XI did exactly that 5 years earlier. That's a nitpick though. Let's just capture this adorable little bacon baby and... Nimona? You doing alright, girl? Jeez, no wonder she's always wearing that carpal tunnel bandage. But yes, hooray, we got a Lechonk! Apparently they're a bit of a foodie and give off an herb-like scent. Yes, I know you guys in the US hold back the H. I just never got why. With all the ridicule you guys put on France, it's just weird to me that you kept their pronunciation, both on this and garage, instead of garage like us Commonwealthers say. Remnants of the War of Independence, perhaps? Oh, sorry, right, the nickname. Actually, on the topic of French misconceptions, I always assumed with the picky eating thing that the name was meant to be based on a French phrase with the meme word, you know, Lechonk. But that's actually secondary to the main influence, which is the Spanish word lechon, for suckling pig. But as I am a slave to my hubris, I must make the name my own, so I'll go for El Chonco. And hey look, I got some lechonk here. If we're making curry again, I'm not looking forward to some of these recipes. Then Nimona invites me to the lighthouse to get a look at school proper, and I've got the rest of the route to practice catching. I'm sorry, but I still cannot get over how starting with Arceus, you now go into the long grass to avoid wild Pokemon. It's just so jarring, like driving on the other side of the road in another country. I'll do it, sure, and this slide into a crouch is freaking sick, I'll give them that. But that doesn't stop it feeling so very wrong. What doesn't feel wrong, though, is this amazingly streamlined grinding system. Just a tap of the shoulder button and go, La Margarita, mess him up! Yeah, I know, on the one hand, as my spouse Leo said, so you're celebrating that you don't play the game as much? And I get that to an extent, but with this in Arceus, I haven't felt this much like I'm in the anime since Gen 1. If you think about it, on the show, battles are basically auto-battlers until they shout a command, so this is just dividing it into both halves according to preference. I personally love it, and I never felt like it took away from the experience at all. I mean, I still have to battle it face-to-face to catch it, or for trainer battles anyway. Shh! They'll never see me here. Everyone knows Pokemon's vision is based on movement. After I stumble onto the camera mode and get a tutorial for the thing that I just spent 10 minutes fumbling through for the license photo, grumble grumble, while testing the buttons I also discover the oh no! Luckily there aren't nearly as many options this time. I'm guessing to make way for fashion shops further along. Though I wish I'd known earlier about this freaking purple tie and vest. This is my fashion hole. It was made for me! Then after swapping out my hat for one that makes this weird noise whenever I put it on, check it out. Father, Tarquin got a polo pony. I simply must have one. Weird. I'll stay hatless for now and fight some more pokes if I could just target the dang thing. Ugh. I'm not a fan of the fact they have to roughly center them on the screen before targeting acknowledges it. That's a pain. I catch a Scatterbug and a Hoppip. I'm not planning on making either of them a fixture of the team, which usually means no nickname, but since I do need a grass type and I admit I like Jumpluff, I decided the last second to name El Hoppo and let him aboard. Then there's Fletchling, which I'm aware is a competitive beast, but I'm sorry, none of the evolutionary line do it for me. They all look too boring. They are just bird. Nevertheless, I do need a fire type, so El Fletcho's in for now. Though I will say I am intrigued about this apparent blood feud with something called Squawkabilly. Oh, and I also love Auto Heal, another note they apparently cribbed from Dragon Quest. Well, if you're gonna steal from the best, I suppose. After that, it's Tarantula, which is indeed round and adorable, but not nearly as adorable as Joltik, so that's a pass from me. And then this gen's Pikachu contender, Pawmi, which I'd rate a solid A on the Pika-clone ranking, up there with Emolga. The boring color is balanced by the adorable silhouette, and hey, this one even has an evolution, we'll have to check that out. Definitely worth a slot on the team, especially with its ability to paralyze. So welcome aboard, La Susta, the Shock. Because it's electricity electricity and because I'm shocked at how much she's already growing on me. It also represents my shock when I accidentally exited the naming menu instead of confirming and kept her as Pormy by accident. Oh well, bye Tarantula. Also, I forgot to mention it earlier, but I absolutely love the Pokedex format this gen. The bookshelf looks so satisfying to fill out, and the gorgeous photos on each book are also good as ideas for photos of your own. Big thumbs up for that. So then I put Pormy up front and, oh thank heavens, another excellent quality of life improvement from Legends. I can change the nickname at any time from the stats screen. It's a good thing too, as since learning that Pormy's power comes from their adorable Popeye-like forearms, I felt Le Pata, the paw, would work better, and increase her adorability by about 12%. I also found out that you can change your party at any time too, and maybe it's just because I'm a filthy casual who has no appreciation for the struggle, but I love this too. To me it makes sense, since think about it, in the real world our phones are basically PCs in our pockets, way more powerful than any desktop was in the 90s. So why wouldn't it evolve in a similar way in the Pokemon world? We have a PC on us at all times, so we should be able to use it like a PC at all times. So yeah, welcome back Tarantula. I did want to level you up a bit so I can at least see your evolution. And goodbye Scatterbug, you're basic. Then I grind for a bit and yeah, while I personally really like the full party experience share, I completely agree it should be toggleable for a more hardcore experience. It feels like they really missed a trick with that, and I feel bad for the purists out there. Like if you wanted to do like a Gen 1 purist run, you could just not swap your Pokemon out unless you're in front of a desktop, but there's no way to emulate that one at a time experience, and that's sad. Then Nemona catches up, but we've barely had time to exchange pleasantries before we're interrupted by an Onyx sneezing. Go-go! We look to find the source of the noise and are forced to confront the robot motorbike snake plane due to a weakened cry causing a landslide. At least that's sure what it looks like. Oh no, I'm flipping through the floor! Luckily our Rotom has an emergency shin-saving ability to briefly fly. That sure doesn't sound like something that will cause frustration due to lack of obvious utilization, does it? Then we head over to the beached creature and do what any good Samaritan would do. Feed it Subway. Though I admit I did briefly worry that pressing select meant I'd just eat it in front of them, maintaining eye contact as it slowly drifted away. But no, apparently a Bidoof lettuce and tomato sandwich is enough to knit the creature's metal bones back together, and it's basically all,
"Thanks, kid. I have to go now. My planet needs me."
So we follow them through the cave, reassuring Nemona as she pulls her best Lois Lane by both wondering what the cause of the cry was and separately wondering what that Pokemon you're following is. You can do it, girl. Don't strain yourself. And also, while I was letting La Pata stretch their legs, I found out you can talk to them while they're out of the ball, and
I will now die for this creature.
Then we pick up a Trubgoose for the Dex, as well as a Diglett, because Diglett are the best, and Hoppip can take a hike. Welcome to the team, buddy. Then Snakebite straight up bites through a boulder, and then Nemona's all, wait, how did she know that? We're in a tunnel. Maybe she has extrasensory awesomeness perception or something? But then we get ganked by an overleveled Houndoom, and Snakebite is all,
Processing. Analysis returns 1 crap to give.
But then Houndoom activates an impromptu horde battle, and okay, like I get that that's just an assisted jump and it's too weak to fly, but you could have done that on the beach, buddy. Well, I'm not complaining too much as we get this adorably Japanese gesture from Nemona. Then Snakebite is all,
Oh, Struth have done me hammy.
and we're given the option of 6 or a half dozen as we try to figure out our next move. Nemona is still acting as thick as a crustal omelette, though. Nemona, don't hurt yourself, okay? And hey, we got Swift, always useful, and really? We're back to single use on TMs? That sucks. Well anyway, Nemona's all, hey, we need a break from all that. Why don't we go to the lighthouse to catch our breath? You mean what we were going to do anyway? Shouldn't you name the Diglett if it's going to be in your party? Alright, so after christening young La Cavadora, we head towards the lighthouse, but apparently I didn't plot an efficient enough route as Nemona's all,
Oh yeah.
and then, whoa, what is this mystical land beneath our human perception? Here, I'll wake up the old-fashioned way. Oh dear. Yeah, the game checkpointed me on top of the cave. Oh boy. Oh boy, I do not want to start again. This is really bad. Luckily, before I could consign young Suede to a slow, painful death by starvation in the space between spaces, though that might not be an uncommon fate in the Pokemon world when you consider what ghost Pokemon are known for, I remembered earlier someone mentioning that I could use the phone to fast travel. So fingers and toes crossed that I unlocked a destination, or else I will emit a shriek loud enough to dislodge some rocks of my own. Oh, thank Giratina, praise the distortion world. So, that arguably more traumatic experience out of the way, we catch back up with Nemona while grabbing any items I missed the first time. She seems unfazed by my phasing out of existence, but this guy seems pretty rattled. So this is Arvin, who's the son of a professor at the college. though he seems a little high-strung about it.
I don't give a f about my family name.
Ooh, could this be the jerk rival? At the very least, he seems to know way more about Snakebite than he's willing to tell, including its name. This is a Miraidon, apparently, and it doesn't obey just anyone, and if I want to prove myself worthy of this random stranger, I better put my mons where my mouth is and beat his... squavit. No, really, that's all he has, aside from disarmingly foreboding dialogue. Maybe he thinks the world is imperfect? Well, regardless, he then gives me Miraidon's Pokeball? If he's your Pokemon, why didn't you battle me with him? Heck, why are you giving in to me? All I did was punch your squirrel's cheeks. Then, after flashing his neon sign saying, I am pivotal to the narrative, one more time, he takes off and we finally get to the freaking lighthouse. But yes, now at last we're able to see the lay of the land. Namona's all, dang, all this adventure and we haven't even made it to class yet. I don't think anyone's had a more traumatic experience surrounding a lighthouse, right? I don't know. I know a couple of guys. Speaking of shared trauma, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and join me as I cover the next hour next week. I'm really liking the feel of it so far, nitpicks aside, and the grind streamlining was just a dream, but that bug was a nightmare. If I hadn't remembered the fast travel system, which is pretty likely, the run might have ended there in frustration, which is a pretty big problem. Oh, and I forgot to mention this, but I found it funny that Hoppip keeps using splash, because in Japanese, splash is called hop, which makes way more sense. Weird how such a simple translation decision can lead to such a bizarre inconsistency in the future, right? Well, it's time for our question of the week. Who's that Patreon? It's Black Devil 1942.
Black Devil 1942.
They ask, how do you feel about Ash finally ending his story in the anime? I guess I'm probably feeling the same way like a One Piece fan will feel about the show finally ending. Like, we knew it couldn't have gone on forever, but there's a part of the brain that just kind of expects it, you know? Like, we make jokes about Ash's immortality, but there was something comforting about the fact that no matter what stage he was at in his journey, he still had his whole life ahead of him. I mean, now that's gone, but it also means he's able to experience all new life experiences that come with getting a bit older, and that's kind of cool too. I just hope beyond hope he finally meets his dad in the last episode, or at least finds the body, because if you aren't willing to show up for your son when he becomes a freaking champion, that's just the event horizon of Deadbeat right there. The bittersweetness is redoubled when I consider how unceremoniously my own journey was ended, though let's be honest, it would have been very unlikely for me to ever reach the end. At my fastest, I was doing one journey episode a week, and I was on episode 194 when the channel was nuked, so with approximately 1,100 to go, I'd have been finished in, what, my mid-50s? Well, maybe I'll eventually get so popular that I can hire a staff and get Papermon done at the same rate. Ha! Ha! We'll have to see if our future contains even more bizarre occurrences in our continued quest to discover dreams and adventures and the space between spaces. See you then, and admit it, you like me, Crawdont.